Hiya, happy Sunday. You are welcome to our channel. Hope you've been having a wonderful Sunday thoughts. So today we're going to be discussing the final part of the healing toolkits that we started talking about 2 episodes ago. And we said that we're going to discuss the toolkits that can be applied alongside medical aid for postpartum depression and body image, right? Things like that. So this toolkit may not be sense-making as such, but it has been very helpful to a lot of women, especially those who have experienced postpartum depression. And what is this toolkit? It's a very simple thing. It is a well-processed and well-documented birth story. Well-processed, you've reflected upon it without re-traumatizing yourself, and you've written it down in a book. I have a book, where you can write and reflect upon your birth story. And what is the benefits of this? I'll see you shortly. You are welcome back. So what is the benefits of a well-processed and well-documented birth story? Number one, the event of childbirth is such a powerful and monumental event, both in the life of the child, in the life of the mother, in the life of the family that child is coming into, and in the world in general. And it will be a mistake, if I'm not overstepping, not to record that such a beautiful or monumental event, to be very honest. And it doesn't take much to record it, okay? Lots of times we complain, oh, we don't have records in this country, Nigeria. It starts from things like this. It starts from this. Are you recording the monumental events in your life? This is one event that you want to record. So the second reason why, processing and recording your birth story is beneficial is that, especially for moms who have had tumultuous birth experiences, either pregnancy or delivery, when they reflect upon their birth stories or properly process it, they begin to see light in those dark moments, and their perspective switches or changes. And it unlocks something in them that sets them free from some of those dark moments. So it is very beneficial, especially for women who have gone through postpartum depression. Now, the third reason is that for the child, a lot of children who have been given, records of their birth, well-detailed records of their birth, have shown immense appreciation for, the treasured gifts that they were given, the treasured gifts of how they entranced the world. It's not a lot of people that have it, and for you to have it is something. A lot of children show immense gratitude for this gift later on in life, when they can appreciate it. And finally, there are other reasons, but for now, and finally, it is very, very helpful to other communities of moms, or even a family or a single mom who is experiencing similar to something that you have experienced. The Bible says we'll comfort others with the comfort that we have received. So yeah, those are the reasons why you should process your birth story. Now, how do you process your birth story without re-traumatizing yourself? A birth story is essentially the record of the stages of your pregnancy. Essentially, that's really the major details of the entire birth story. So what are the stages of pregnancy? Number one, dilation and effacement. There are 3 stages, by the way. Dilation and effacement is your uterus, the home of your child, tugging and pulling against itself, kind of peeling open its neck or its head, or the opening at the tail end, so that your baby can glide out easily. And dilation and effacement can take from a period of 6 hours to 24 hours or even more. That period is one of the most traumatic for some women. Another stage, and yeah, dilation and effacement has to end up at the cervix, that is the womb, the neck of the womb, opening up to about 10 centimeters, enough for a medium-sized watermelon to come through. Yeah, women go through. Anyways, the second stage of birthing is the active labor and delivery stage. This is the stage whereby baby is coming out. Now, these stages of delivery I'm talking about are for vaginal delivery, but stage 2 and stage 3 are kind of similar for a person that has had a C-section. Active labor and delivery of the child, or delivery of the child, where you're cut open and child is brought out. And the final stage is the afterbirth. The afterbirth is the birthing of the placenta. For C-section mummies, sometimes the baby is carried out with the placenta, right? But for vaginal mummies, you have to birth, the placenta. You have to give birth to the placenta because it doesn't belong in your body, it was for child. So those are the 3 stages of delivery. And each stage can be full of its own blessings or traumas. Notwithstanding, you can process each, by themselves and record them in bits and pieces to create your birth story. Okay? So, moving on to the how. We've talked about what a birth story contains. Is essentially the 3 stages of delivery. So, how do you create or write your birth story? The first how is for you to be willing to do it. Be willing to do it. The willingness to do it will fuel other things. The second how is to get yourself, a random jotter. Not necessarily just a random jotter, not necessarily the main place that you're going to record your birth stories in. I'm sure you can see what is written here. 6 stories every month should tell a child. And in one of those places is the story of the birth. The story of the birth of your child. And I have, my baby's story. Joshua, I have his picture and then I have the story recorded in the book. Okay? So it's a beautiful book and it was a gift actually, and I appreciate it. So you just get a random jotter where you can just jot things in bits and pieces. And the third thing that you can now do is to think about each birth stage and think about them individually. So you take maybe a random Thursday, and you sit down and you're thinking about stage 1, the dilation and the effacement. So how does this story go? You think, how did it begin? How did labor begin? Where did labor begin? What time did labor begin? I hope you guys are writing these things down. What time did labor begin? What happened next? Was I with my hospital bag, or did I have to go back and get my hospital bag? Was my spouse with me? Where was my spouse if he wasn't with me? So how did I get to the hospital? What happened after I got to the hospital? Etc, etc. So you keep on writing that, story in bits and pieces until you get to the point whereby you entered into active labor, and then you stop. You just stop. You've done your work for that day. You've reflected on it. You've written it down. Stop. Because if you push yourself too much, you might traumatize yourself with the, events of the day. So that's why you do it in bits and pieces. Another random Friday or Saturday, you come to your notepad again and you start the story of the active labor. So what happened when Dr. So came in, maybe from where you stopped? How did it feel? How did the labor feel? How fast did it go? What did I do? What did my spouse do? Just the mood. How did I feel about the nurses? How did I feel about what the care I received? Because some of those things are what, may have traumatized you. What could have been done differently? Don't think of that, actually. Don't think of what could have been done differently. Just continue writing the birth story as it is, till you get to the point of, after the baby has been birthed. So what time did baby come out? What happened after baby came out? And then you end it for that day. And then another random day, another random Monday, you give it some days. You come again. After baby was birthed, was baby allowed to stay on your chest, or was baby taken away? How did you feel birthing the placenta? Mine was rather easy, but some women have said that birthing the placenta wasn't easy for them. So what happened after birthing the placenta? And then you just wrap up the story at the point where, maybe you were stitched, if you had stitches done, or you were taken to your room. And that's really the end of your birth story. Not too much stories of before or after. Do you understand? So that's your birth story. And after you've written it out in this phase, if there's any part that is really so dissatisfying to you, that you really, really do not like, that is making you cringe, then bring out that part and talk to your partner about it. And if both of you agree, you can actually have a rebirthing ceremony for that part. And what does a rebirthing ceremony entail? Is a visualization of how you would have wanted maybe the entire part of your, if you're dissatisfied with everything, the entire part of your labor and delivery to go. You visualize it in your head, holding your baby with your husband. Some women even go all out. They light candles. Some women go all out. They put petals inside a bathtub and they enter naked with their child and their spouse is with them. The only thing I'll say about that one is that you need to be careful. Make sure that you're not in a slippery position so that rebirthing will not turn to another thing. Okay, I'm not trying to be funny, but truthfully right now. So you can hold a rebirthing ceremony, and after which, you can also record that rebirthing ceremony in your book. That I visualized your birth to be like this, and it's just for healing. That's why I said some of these things do not seem like they make sense, but these are tools that women have used that have helped them. I'm sharing this with you for free. People pay for this information. So yeah, that's a healing toolkit. That's about it really. And if you've documented it down, one of the ways that you can also heal properly is by sharing it with people, by talking about it, talking about your birth story. One way that you will know that you have healed or you're healing from it is the more you talk about it, the easier it is to talk about it. When you can't really talk about it, then you may not have healed from it. So the first person you can start with is your husband. After you finish processing your birth story, you can start with talking to your husband about it. Okay, so this was what happened during my birth. This is this, this is that, this is that. And then you realize that the pain, the trauma is being removed, okay? It's being removed. And that is the essence of this. That is, especially as a toolkit of healing, that is the essence, okay? I pray that this episode has been helpful. If there's any question, you can reach me in my DMs. You can reach me in the comments. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. You are loved. You are wonderful. You're beautiful. All of you, both daddy and mommy, both mommy and daddy, you're blessed. I'll see you next time. Bye.